A local blood center is facing a major shortage. How the winter weather is impacting their supply.
There's a lot of tow truck operators killed every year just because somebody's not paying attention.
And give them a little extra room. Cleanup begins today as tow truck drivers remove vehicles that slid off the roadways during this winter weather event.
Covering news where you live. This is 5 News at noon.
Well, thank you so much for joining us for your 5 News at noon. I'm Tiffany Lee here with forecaster Joshua Weisel. And Josh, a lot of people are wanting to know this forecast. It is so stinking cold out there. When is it going to end?
Unfortunately, we have a little bit to go with it. In fact, the cold is probably going to stick around for the mornings into the weekend. So we'll get into those temperatures. But before that, you can see it is still a winter wonderland. Cars are going pretty slow across the area on my way into work. Some of the side roads were a little bit sketchy. Highways are just a little bit better. So take it slow if you have to head out today. Otherwise, just stay inside and enjoy this weather. The temperatures are the biggest headlines now that we're through the snow. Dangerously cold continuing into today, into tonight. In fact, tomorrow morning, we could see some record-breaking lows. We'll get to that here in the main segment in just a little bit. Right around the teens to the 20s across northwest Arkansas. The other thing is those wind chills. It feels like it's single digits into the teens across the area. In fact, some areas are still seeing close to 0 at the noon hour for those feels like temperatures. It's also a dry air across the area. That cool, dry air, it's leading to those chapped lips. And if you feel like your skin's sticking to clothes, it's because it is super, super dry outside because of that. So we're going to be taking a look at the main forecast with those record lows that I mentioned and how long this cold sticks around coming up in just a little bit.
All right, thanks for that. Well, right now at noon on this frigid afternoon, the U of A says a mechanical issue is impacting the ability to heat all of campus. Right now, heating is reduced by 25% in buildings east of Razorback Road. The U of A says that it's diverting its remaining 75% of its heating capacity to priority buildings. Those include residence halls and the 3 main dining halls on campus. Hot water will only be available in residence halls from 1 to 7 today so residents can shower. The university is asking everyone on campus to conserve power as crews work to fix the issue. We'll keep you updated on their progress. And here's a look at the winter weather map from the Arkansas Department of Transportation. Now, this is iDrive Arkansas. You can use it anytime, but it's really good during situations like this because those colors right there are all reports of what that winter weather has done to the roads. So the blue lines, that shows snow in those areas. The pink line shows ice patches. And if you see any purple, that means that whole road is covered with ice. So remember to drive with caution if you do have to get out on the roads today. And when it comes to how to dress, here are some tips from the National Weather Service. With the extreme cold temperatures, make sure that you're wearing a warm hat or hood or both. Include a face mask and gloves, coat, and at least 3 layers on your body. For your legs, you can go 2 layers. And as the temps warm up, the layers can be removed, but it still remains important to keep your head and feet warm with hats and waterproof boots. And while the sleet and snow may be done falling from the sky, your home isn't out of the woods just yet. To avoid an expensive fix, you'll want to drip your faucets to help prevent pipes from freezing. You can also keep cabinet doors open so the heat from the house can reach those pipes. You probably should have already done this, but if not, you should remove outdoor garden hoses and cover hose bibs to give them added protection. It's also good to know where your water shutoff valve is in case your home does spring a leak. And if you or anyone you know needs a warm place to stay during these frigid temperatures, we have details on some warming centers that are open. Temporary ones have also opened up. Just text the word warm to the number right there on your screen, 479-785-5000, and we'll send you back a link with the address, location, and phone number of places that are open. Well, it's been a busy week for Arkansas State Police, who say that they have worked more than 255 wrecks since noon on Tuesday. Even if you aren't the one in the wreck, you could still get stuck.
Go out unless they have to, but to make sure that they're leaving plenty of distance between their vehicle and the vehicle in front of them, and pay extra close attention to what's going on around them.
Remember, if you do start slipping and sliding, stay calm and don't jam the brakes. Instead, tap them and steer into the slide. And if you take it slow to begin with, that skid won't be as scary. Well, tow truck drivers say that the calls have been coming in nonstop since the snow started falling. They're asking people to slow down and move over when you see them on the side of the road. Driver Jim Wilson says he's faced many close calls in the past, and his head is always on a swivel, considering the accidents that he's responded to over the past 15 years.
Wish more people would spend more time looking at their surroundings and preparing to, like something's going to happen, whether it does or not, but be prepared for it, and that will eliminate a lot of accidents.
Well, this wintry weather has also made a bad situation at the Arkansas Blood Institute in Fort Smith even worse. The center was already experiencing a big loss of donors because of illness. Now the weather has caused even more blood drive cancellations, which has caused the supply to dip to near 1 day.
The last ditch effort fallback is to reach out to other blood centers across the country and say, hey, do you have any extra product that you might be able to share with us? And we can kind of piece it together, you know, from a bunch of different blood centers. And that's not the case this time, this go around. And the reason being is because everybody's been dealing with the flu.
They say all blood types are needed. You can stop by the center at 5300 South U Street to make a donation. And we've got you covered around the clock during this winter weather. Stay with 5 News for all the latest closings and road conditions. You can also download our free 5+ app. Scan the QR code right there on your screen to learn how. Well, making national headlines, President Donald Trump is going up against 2 major American cities. Overnight aboard Air Force One, he spoke about crime in the nation's capital and backed a Republican idea for the federal government to, quote, take over Washington, D.C.
I think that we should run it strong, run it with law and order.
Well, this comes hours after President Trump pulled support for New York City's efforts to curb heavy traffic by charging drivers higher fees in busy areas during business hours. The state's governor is challenging the move in court, and CBS News has learned more than 6,000 IRS employees will have their jobs eliminated by the end of the week. Most of them are expected to be newer probationary hires. Meanwhile, President Trump continues to take aim at Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky after calling him a dictator. While speaking at an investment conference on Wednesday, the president accused Zelensky of mismanaging U.S. aid to Ukraine amid the country's ongoing war with Russia. The comments come after the Ukrainian president said that Trump is living in a disinformation space. Well, homeowners in Kentucky are still cleaning up after that powerful winter storm system brought damaging winds, rains, and flash floods. One longtime Kentucky resident says that his family has owned their home since the mid-1930s. The flooding was bad enough to cause damage to all the flooring and furniture sitting on it, but he says the community will rebuild.
It's been a hard knock, and everybody's working. You'll see when you go everywhere, they're working. Kentucky are a unique people, I think. Kentuckians are a breed of survivors and success.
Others in the community say that they are grateful for the help that they have received. Well, the NTSB is investigating a collision at an Arizona airport that killed 2 people. The crash happened between 2 small planes. Federal air safety investigators say each plane had 2 people on board when they collided at the Marana Regional Airport on the outskirts of Tucson. The NTSB says one plane landed uneventfully while the other hit the ground near a runway and then caught fire. In Canada, investigators say that they sent black boxes for lab analysis from a Delta Airlines regional jet that flipped upside down upon landing in Toronto. They're trying to uncover what caused the crash that injured 21 people. Following initial impact at Toronto's Pearson Airport, parts of the aircraft separated and a fire emerged. A team of over 20 Canadian investigators are leading the probe into the jet operated by Delta's Endeavour Air subsidiary. Well, there were 80 people on board at the time of the crash. And in the Middle East, Hamas has released the bodies of 4 Israeli hostages, said to include a mother and her 2 children. Hamas has said that all 4 were killed along with their guards in Israeli airstrikes. A Red Cross convoy is headed back to Israel, where authorities will carry out the formal identification of the remains using DNA. Israelis have celebrated the return of 24 living hostages in recent weeks under a ceasefire. The first phase of the ceasefire is set to end at the beginning of March. Meanwhile, lawmakers have sent a bill to the governor that would deregulate raw milk products across the state. If Governor Sanders signs it into law, it would allow farmers to sell unpasteurized milk at farmers markets or deliver it to customers. However, farmers will still need to put a warning label on each jug and display a contact number wherever it's sold. Well, if you need something to warm up today, how about a cup of the second best coffee in the world? Onyx Coffee Lab in Rogers has been named the #1 coffee shop in North America and the #2 coffee shop in the world. The list was released by the world's 100 best coffee shops, a group that ranks coffee shops. Onyx Coffee Lab took to social media to celebrate. They came in second in the worldwide competition, just behind Toby's Estate Coffee Roasters in Australia and just ahead of Gouda Coffee Experts in Austria. They were the only U.S. coffee shop in the top 10 worldwide.